Welcome back, guys. Hey, I'm here on the desk now. It's me, Fawn, and of course, I could not be alone here. I have to be joined by somebody of an amazing caliber. You know him, you love him. It's Bees. Woo! Okay, all right. That was me hyping you up. But
I was doing a little dance with the bee at the front. Okay. The bees were like this.
Well, I'm super excited because of the fact that we saw an extremely amazing performance from the Renegades earlier today. Not an easy task to be able to go 3-0 over the Pittsburgh Knights, but it happened. And coming into this matchup, if they got that momentum from last time, man, it might be a little bit rough for Kanga, dude.
Yeah, I'm hyped, dude. You should have heard me in the other room when
everyone heard me.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I was so hyped. I said, like, I was explaining to the guys, and they're like, "Oh, you want Renegades to win for this or for this?" I said, to be honest, when you're like friends with everyone in the scene, you don't really cheer for a team.
Right.
So when there's like big upsets, it's exciting. You know, it's not necessarily that I want the Knights to lose, but the Renegades just. That moment, getting to see them win is so nice, man. It's such a nice feeling to see those boys like get a dub because they're such awesome guys. And sometimes it's a little bit sad when you see them lose some games and then boom, and then they come out and pull this one out. And I'm very happy for the boys.
Yeah, and they have an absolutely explosive day today. I mean, absolutely phenomenal for them. Once again, 3-0 over the Knights. Not an easy task. If you guys weren't able to catch it earlier, I suggest you guys watch the VOD for sure because it was an absolute amazing fight, dude, between these two teams. And once again, coming into this matchup is interesting. You've got the Renegades versus Kanga. Kanga just lost. Renegades just won.
Yep.
That's going to be an interesting script that could possibly be flipped because of the fact that Kanga have the losing, I guess, I can't really say like the losing mentality. I should say that they have sort of the losing mindset. That they come off of a loss. It was 3-1 against SSG. Right, they're demoralized. Coming up against the Renegades, they're feeling themselves. They're feeling good. 3-0 over Pittsburgh Knights. I mean, Viral said it himself. It was a personal win for them. I mean, he studies a lot under Cuss. He looks up to him a lot. And that's a story for sure. And I feel like that's what's going to help the Renegades be able to play these games and make it super phenomenal against them.
Oh, for sure. I feel like if you have that momentum coming in now, where you almost probably thinking that you're out already, and then you just pull it back so handily with the 3-0 as well. And I'm so glad it was a 3-0 because I think had Knights just got one win into it, I think then it could have gone either way. But then when it's just straight for the 3-0 SmackDown, like. Man, honestly, I wish you could have heard me. I was screaming in the other room. It was great. It was so good.
I think everyone was screaming. I mean, I was screaming. I'm pretty sure everyone in the whole world heard that one, man. Yeah. I was on a whole new level with that. I was so happy for them. Of course, can't really be too biased, so on and so forth. But I'm still happy for the Renegades. But Kanga, I mean, their opponents today, you have to be careful still going up against them. Once again, they're a bit demoralized. They just lost 3-1 against SSG, but still, that does not mean they are out. And clearly, they want to be able to make sure they win this game.
Yeah, from my perspective, I would honestly say that Knights. If I had to face either one of them, I'd be more scared to see Knights typically. But this tournament, Kanga has definitely been showing to be the stronger team than Knights has throughout this tournament. So although it was a phenomenal 3-0 from the Renegades boys, I do think this is more of a challenge. On paper, it might not be although the standings wouldn't say that, but from the last split, looking at Knights and Kanga, Knights look to be stronger. Now, though, Kanga is definitely the tougher opponent for the Renegades boys. But they did get 3-0, so it's possible.
Yeah, it is. It is extremely possible for them to be able to fight back. I mean, once again, you don't want to underestimate these guys, dude.
Not at all.
I mean, you have Garrett on these supports. He can play extremely aggressive when need be, and even when he doesn't need to, he's still having these pretty dominant performances, even on a support, and you have to be careful about that. Him against Viral, that's definitely going to be a matchup. I mean, we saw Viral do some amazing stuff earlier today on the Genos. Once again, it's going to be a matter of how Renegades are going to be able to potentially continue the momentum it was that they had from earlier, once again, 3-0 over the Knights, and make sure that they can actually convert this into a win, and hopefully at least from their perspective, be able to try and keep Kanga low. Since they're already demoralized, it's going to be a little bit easier for Renegades to be able to fight them.
I think the first map's going to be definitely one that's going to dictate a lot of this set. I mean, they do have phenomenal players on. We've seen some of the players in the last rounds from Young Chronics. He's just a phenomenal player, especially when you're looking at the fact that they were losing and he was still getting those clutch moments with the strict shots, still keeping the Kanga boys in there. And I mean, they did take a game from SSG as well, who are looking insanely dominant throughout this entire tournament.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they're going to be too, like, the way the Kanga boys are, I don't think they'll be too, like, I would say demoralized is a good way to put it, but I don't think they would be certainly too disheartened, especially coming to this matchup where I think in their mental state of being, they think they're going to win this one. I don't think they're going to be too worried about the last set of games. I think they're going to come in this fresh-minded and think, we have this, we have the win on this one.
Okay, well, I mean, this is going to be it. The first map is going to be Frog Isle. I mean, they got rid of the maps. It was, you guys already saw me, Ice Mine Shadow, Desert Waters Gate, and I believe it was Splitstone was going to be the last one for those map bans. But the first map we will be starting off on, guys, is Frog Isle. You can see it right there. It's already written down, but also just make sure you guys reiterate and note that is where we will be going for the first map. And Kanga start off their ban with the Cassie.
Cassie ban is quite interesting. I prefer the Strix ban coming out on this. Cassie is not normally typically one you see on Frog Isle. It's definitely almost... Sometimes you get free bans on maps when you're first pick in certain circumstances, and this has allowed now basically Kanga to dictate as to whether they're going to go for the aggressive, the uber tanks as I call them or not, the Makoa and the Atlas. It's now in Kanga's ball game whether they want to do that. Renegades were forcefully made to ban out the Strix on this map. You do not let Strix through on this map. It's just kind of a standardized rule. Unless you have a very specific strat for it, you just don't let that through. Now with Kanga banning out the Willow, they've said that we don't want you guys to have the uber tanks, but surprisingly, Renegades have opted to ban out the Atlas, giving the Kanga boys a free Makoa pick. I'm not quite sure where the Renegade boys are going with this, especially with now the Cassie banned out. That's the big game Cassie taken out of the equation, which is normally the counter to Makoa. I'm not quite sure where we're going to go for this. Maybe we see another Sky coming out. Debilitate Sky could be cut. I very much doubt it.
Yeah, well, I mean, but it's a possibility. It is a possibility that you could see. I mean, that much is for sure. Once again, I'm interested too. I mean, they ban Atlas. They willingly give up Makoa. Kanga started off that ban with the Cassie, just like you were saying. It's a big counter to Makoa. I mean, in the form of big game. That's a lot of damage that's going to be coming out onto him. But since it's not in the ballpark anymore, I'm going to believe that Renegade's draft is going to struggle a little bit. They're hovering the Barrack. They're hovering the Maeve as well. And, I mean, you have that damage there. Sure, it's still there. I mean, Barrack can hurt. Maeve can hurt. But I don't think it hits the same as a Cassie would. And I mean, what do you think about this, Bees? I mean, they lock in the Barrack Maeve first. What is that telling you so far?
I do
How
like
do
the
Kanga
Maeve.
respond as well?
The Maeve is good. The Maeve does have significant damage when she's using Cat Burglar talent. I think both teams are just leaving it very open at the moment. There's not really anything defining from either side that I'm seeing that kind of jumps out to me to being someone trying something impressive or trying something new. Kind of going for very standard bans here. I mean, we're not going to be seeing any kind of like Kinissa coming out. I very much doubt anyone's going to go for that. Kanga probably, if I was Kanga now, maybe looking towards maybe getting more of a nice support on my side and some nice long-range damage. So maybe looking into like the Furia and Lian pickups, something along those lines. They don't necessarily need the point tank yet. Are they going to go for the IO?
Yeah.
That's a, how on earth could I say Furia for Kanga?
Yeah,
over
as if IO
what
hasn't
games
been.
have I been watching this set? So they go for the point tank here. I don't think they necessarily needed to. I wouldn't have seen Renegades going for a double point tank composition on this map. But still, it's a nice safe pickup for the Inara. Inara with IO is near indestructible. The healing output is really strong. And then obviously, as you've seen, Kanga loves IO in general anyway. That extra point cap pressure from the Luna, phenomenal. With the Makoa aggression, I think it's going to be quite nice for them. I'm liking Kanga's draft so much more than Renegades at the moment, and we're only halfway through the draft, and I don't see how Renegades pull this one back just yet.
I'm not sure either. I mean, maybe a front line into a support, try and leave the damage flexible for last, what I imagine. No, they're going to go their patented double flank strategy. What do you feel about that? I mean, that's difficult. I mean, you don't have... Like, I personally was thinking, okay, well, maybe it's BK. You know, you have a possibility to be able to make Makoa Inara's life sort of bad with a BK potentially. But you've got Maeve, you've got Eevee. They got to be able to get in there. And that dome shield, or at least the shield it is that Makoa has, not the Barrack one, but the one that Makoa has, is going to be extremely hard to try and get through for the both of them. That means that they have to be prioritizing backline, right? They have to be putting that pressure there. Is that what that means?
They're definitely going to have to go for backline. What I think Renegades is what they're thinking is the two tanks that they currently have from Kanga are probably going to look to put a lot of pressure out while Luna captures the point. But if you have two very mobile characters in the Maeve and the Eevee, you take away the pressure from the tanks because they can't keep up with them. So if you allow them to push you in, put some pressure onto you, and then you just push straight past them into the backline of Kanga's and kill whoever's in the backline, then they could be in trouble. However, with the Buck and the Lian, I'm not quite sure how they do that. The Buck has great sustain. Buck is very good at shutting down both Maeve and Eevee. And then obviously Lian is very good at shutting those two down as well. She has a lot of the auto-aim abilities. So these slightly more trickier chaps to hit in the air, it's not really much of an issue for Lian because she has these really handy utility items in her kit to shoot them regardless.
I am just trying to think what Renegades can do at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, Collins open, sure, you got that, but literally Kanga, in my opinion, have already won the draft.
I'm in agreement.
I really feel that because that's going to be hard to break through. I mean, Buck is extremely durable. Yep. You can't burst him as easily. They're going to go with triple DPS.
I respect it.
I do respect it.
I don't think it's the map for it, but I respect it. I think you give up way too much pressure on Frog side of the map. Anara's definitely going to be pushing on to the stage side of the map from point, and then you're going to have Makoa pushing on Frog side of the map, whilst I do say that the two flanks just kind of are able to just circumvent the tanks and just go for the back line.
Okay.
Having the Victor there, he's basically going to be a sitting duck. I think it's going to come down to whether Renegades can... It's who can act the fastest. Are the tanks putting pressure in going to find the kills faster, or are the flanks getting past the tanks, going to the back lines, going to find the tanks faster? And that's what I think it's going to come down to. Yeah,
I mean, this draft looking great for Kanga, not so great for the Renegades. But once again, they look great on paper, but we can only see how the match will actually start when we throw it down to the casters.
Thank you very much, Vaughn. Kanga and Renegades now in a matchup, Kresnik, that decides seeding the loser of this one, locked in for third seed at this point. And I kind of joked about it on desk. There's a world where if Kanga win this one, they play SSG again for their third set here today. I agree, though. I think Kanga have drafted themselves a good-looking draft for Frog Isle. I don't think that the Renegades have a bad draft by any means. They have a triple DPS, a lot of it very... It's kind of standard for them. The Eevee for Shadow, presumably Victor for Invocal. I think they have what it takes to hang in there, but I do agree that Kanga have a very well-rounded, strong draft.
The biggest problem, I think, for the Renegades draft, at least versus what Kanga are bringing to the table here, is that who stops Makoa? No one really does. This is traditionally a two-tank map because there's two lanes that you really need to keep locked down. I've seen triple DPS be successful on this map. Renegades, on paper, should be a team that are successful with triple DPS. Moon Chopper, we've seen be much more successful in general on a DPS than an off-tank in the past. So it should be strong for them. But what can this double flank really get away with when a Makoa is waiting in the wings the whole time?
That's true. I didn't really think of that. So it is Moon Chopper on the Victor, and then Invocal, I would assume, pivots to the Maeve at this point, leaving Shadow on that Eevee. And this is, I imagine, where Moon Chopper will kind of make his damage way in the backline here. Chronix finds the first blood on Invocal, who is on that Maeve. The other couple of kills starting to fall now. The dive from the Buck just a little bit too much, and now three members of the Renegades have to pull back, and they're already at 57% for Kanga.
Yeah, Hero really couldn't contest very long. I feel like Moon just kept feeling like he couldn't spam anywhere and didn't really do very much damage at all. Joel's getting pushed back here by the pressure from the Maeve, and Vocal trying to chase it down, but
that time.
Stalemate. Yeah, 96, they get OT, but what else?
Yeah, Shadow blinks in, but immediately stunned up and cleaned up by Evil Eye. Overtime looking to expire, gets reset. Evil Eye choosing his moment to jump in. Gonna use a restore, just needs one more shot. Viral, maybe a little bit of a body block, a little bit of a side shot there from Evil Eye. Either way, up on the high ground, Moon Chopper survives, but point, nonetheless, going the way of Kanga.
The damage there onto Moon to catch him out at the end, and you can already see how much of an effect Rhino is having on these flanks. You saw that flick? Yeah. That was, if Hook was on cooldown, you'd be dead, for sure, from Rhino. He is waiting for these blinks so he can counter out this wormhole, and Makoa, he's going to keep being a thorn in the side of Renegades as it goes on. Such a strong counter to flankers when you're connecting the hooks, and Rhino's already hot. He just got off his set. Yeah, he lost, but still going to be warm and ready to hit.
He's warmed up, and this has been, honestly, a great week for the Renegades with how they've performed in the 3-0 to start off the day. Look for a little bit more of that in this set. Backwards goes Kara, not far enough as Invocal finds a big double kill on that Maeve. Evil Eye trades out one, but if nothing else, just to keep his team in at Renegades with a good look on this defense to really get Kanga all the way back in their base. Things slow down just a little bit with Kanga looking to retake the payload.
If RNG wanted to play triple DPS on this map, I think you want to do it with multiple back lines as Crash comes in. Looks like it only stunned here around the corner, so not much really found, but it does force Renegades back. Rhino diving in for a hook, but he doesn't connect to the Dome Shield, slows down the push a bit.
Yeah, Hero's going to drop the Dome Shield right back onto the point. Kanga playing that high ground. Ice Storm as well used. Some kills looking great here for the Renegades if they're able to position. And a triple kill from Invocal. You're able to do so on that Mave very easily. So this defense continues to look good if you are the Renegades. Kanga maybe having to search for one more engagement. Yeah, the Seismic Crash, you mentioned it, opened that one up for Joel's. Only a little bit of a stun, and the rest was all Renegades.
So happy that Hero didn't shoot Joel since he was jumping off the map there. Yeah. That might be my #1 pet peeve. And
it's like a reflex for me now. If I see somebody clearly about to jump off the map and a team shoots them
instead. Imagine me being mad.
Right.
Back here. Well, Hero knows he has to come back to the apartment, and I'll just be sitting in the kitchen waiting for him.
Hero,
if I see him,
have a seat. Let's talk.
I know we don't own any chairs, but please, we need to talk about this. Shadow controlling.
Take a seat on the floor right here.
Shadow controlling this left side. Moonchopper overextends in main, goes down. Enlightenment hits onto Invocal, doesn't find the kill, but Gera manages to get the trade.
Yeah, and you have to be careful here if you're the Renegades. You've already lost 2, and if you don't stall out for those respawns, payload gets moving somewhat quickly. Joel's is going to poke down Hero into the rocket boots, and not enough shielding there to keep him alive. So now moving in, Viral back on cooldown as well. 10 seconds on that Genos. How much can Kanga get in the start of this overtime? Down 2 members is the big question. I think smartly, Renegades are going to back off and try to regroup.
Any little bit of poking they can do, though, is going to be valuable. I think waiting for their spawners, just force them to spread the IO healing a little bit, waste some Moonlight. Sounds like Hook kind of missed by the spawn. Kanga's going to back up, and now Moonchopper going to be really important for this hold. They need this damage to connect. For now it is, but how long can he stay here? How long can he free fire?
Yeah, they need this victor, and this is where you wish you had maybe a little bit more tankiness, but with Joel's going down first, and Vocal finds the kill, hooked in. Is that Mave, but able to dash out back to safety. Joel's the first one to go down. Still a little bit of tankiness in that Makoa, and that's what's going to be keeping overtime going now. Rhino into the backline, gets the kill onto Moonchopper. But once Rhino goes down, things looking dire here for Kanga unless big trades come out, and I don't see that happening. The Renegades, tense moments there, but they secure the D.
Can I just say, Hero is just having a fantastic job on this defense here. I think he's top damaging currently on his team with a Victor and both flankers. That's really impressive. Honestly, I feel being able to confirm that much on the Barrack. It really goes to show why Barrack, I think, is one of the best the best solo tanks for triple DPS. Yeah,
the timing there for Hero has just paid off. 5, 2, and 6 now on that Barrack, and he's got the Dome Shield back. He used it kind of in the middle of that round to just secure up that defense, and now has it back off of cooldown for this mid-fight. And 9, 6, and 3. Mave continues to be a big part of seemingly all of the wins here today.
Yeah, such a flexible character. The mobility, the ability to poke from long range while still being able to kind of int and go in for those very aggressive plays when you need to. I want to see what Renegades changes up here. I think they have to play a little more patiently. They died while trying to make something happen last time. Hero this time now not contesting the point, slowing them down to the left. Hook not connecting is big. That could be the moment for Renegades to move, but looks like they're just a little too afraid of Chronix in main.
Yeah, they're just trying to poke out a little bit. Be Gone used. Lots of resilience as well, I might add, for Kanga going into this fight. And Vocal absolutely blows up Evil Eye. That's the first loss now for Kanga's Viral. Positioning himself well here in the backline. Trades continue, seeing Vocal way in the backline of Kanga. Chronix gets the better of the Mave this time around. The rest of the positioning here through time and space connects, not enough damage to get rid of Rhino on that Makoa. Enlightenment though from Chronix, countered out by the ice block. Shadow's gonna come right out of it, but Moonchopper, look at him, still firing away. You can hear that burst fire rattling off in the backline, but 99% for Kanga here.
So close there at the end. Hero pushes the point, doesn't realize that the Luna stuns up and gets owned because of it. Shadow winning the fight against Evil Eye. Even though they have 2 picks, they still have to contest the point with no tanks. That's going to be hard for Renegades to do.
Yeah, and get the Void Grip onto Joel, so at least they're going to regain a little bit of control of this space. Maybe just one more fight is what will determine this. Renegades are going to get themselves 50+ probably percentage on this one, maybe even close in on 60 or 70 by the time Kanga can get back. Buckwild is ready. Midnight, Ice Storm as well. Midnight used now, but Invocal immediately killed off. Ice Storm dropped down as Evil Eye looking for a few shots. Rhino with the big double kill. He's going to zone out Viral. Evil Eye with the final shot there, and a double kill from Rhino, a double kill from Evil Eye, and a third is just some icing on the cake as Kanga grab point number 2.
So much anti-flank potential from this Kanga draft. I think that's what the Buck was meant to do. Yeah, both flankers were taken, and they clearly wanted something mobile still. But now they can put so many resources into Chronix, and Eli can just slow down Maven Eevee. They want to keep that faster pace, and when they slowed it down in response, the Buck maybe didn't do all they wanted, and that's what led Renegades to that win in the start of that mid-fight. But when they had to speed it up, they just couldn't. I just don't think there's any way for them to find kills against the IO and against the Buck.
This is a scary moment as well with Shadow going down first. Crocs is going to slide on over to the left. The good rotation does most of the damage, but Joel's is going to finish off Hero with a few shots from that stone spear, and the payload continues to march forward. Renegades with a barrage and a through time and space to try to peel off on the defense. Kanga have some good ultimates as well. That Ancient Rage is almost ready. Buck Wild just used. This is to push their lead to 3 for Kanga. Continuing to poke. That's a big first trade, but wait, nobody drops down. Hero's not in range, and he used the Dome Shield. Just a bit of mispositioning, mistiming maybe on that one, and Kanga get the push.
I think they thought the cart was a little too close to that edge, because you can contest it from that very, very edge as long as you catch it in this one precise spot. I think Hero thought he had it, used the Dome Shield, but it was just past that magic pixel, and that's what pushed it in. That's what did it. At the very least, they traded it for the Seismic Crash. It's not like they spent an ultimate for nothing going into the Kanga win round, right? They did get something out of it, but it's definitely not what they wanted.
Yeah, that Dome Shield's so much a part of that solo frontline sustain, especially in a lot of these mid-fights, and down to 1%, so realistically that doesn't come up until the very end of a long mid-fight if this one drags on. So now Kanga looking to re-engage. We'll have to see how Hero positions himself. Do you have to play even more carefully now without that Dome Shield?
I think so, or at least be careful about your dashes more than anything, because you don't have that. You have to be able to get out with them.
Right.
You can't save yourself at the end with the Dome Shield. Both flankers playing really slow into Evil Eye, but he's just solo holding both of them.
Yeah.
Koa's walking in now looking for a hook, and he's probably going to connect it. Rana's been playing fantastic, I think, so far this game.
Yeah, that Makoa Buck is very scary, especially when Gara's hanging right behind him. Right-hand side up high goes Hero. Shield goes down, and the rocket boots come out through time and space. Dodged out. 2 members of Kanga off to either side of it. 78% for them. Shadow into the ice block. Not sure they have the angle. Off the side of the map goes Invocal. Might have been done with just a primary attack anyway, but all 4 for the Renegades are starting to fall here. Overtime is on. This game's going to expire, and Kanga, they bounce back after a tough set and grab win number 1.
How does Renegades respond to the point pressure that Kanga brought the entire time? And Naro, Luna, always there. So tough to respond in any way. Your Eevee's not going to cap. Overtime maybe, but...
Eevee could cap, but that's not... Yes. In all reality, no, your Eevee is not going to be capping, and now you kind of look back. I don't know. We're splitting hairs here, but does that Dome Shield really make a difference at the end there?
No, I really think Renegades were just plain out drafted. Yeah. Triple DPS can work on that map, but I think you have to do it in a double backline manner, right? Yeah. You put a backline in both angles, so nowhere's safe. Instead, running the double flanker, you just say, all right, where are both the flankers? All right, put all our anti-flank stuff there.
Right.
And there was nothing else Renegades could do to adapt to that.
Yeah, I think Kanga kind of flipped around the Ascension Peak draft a little bit weird, maybe left some question marks in our last set, drafting much better here. And teams kind of continuing, you know, the Khan Ashe picks have started to slide further and further down. This one, Khan unpicked, unbanned. Ashe much the same. Nonetheless, Kanga, they grab win number 1. See if they can go back-to-back right after this break.
pretending that I don't know who you are every time I see you.
Welcome back, guys. Now, Kanga are going to be able to take the very first win of this current set, and I think that it really just comes down to one word, honestly, Bees. I think it comes down to that one word that we were talking about a lot, and that's draft, the drafting phase.
Most certainly.
That defined so much of that set, honestly.
Yeah, the guys on Kanga just had way too much pressure, and then as soon as the flanks even got into the back lines, we've seen instantly they were getting hooked, they were getting destroyed by the Buck. Yeah, I think, to be honest, though, considering how skewed the draft was, I think Renegades actually did okay. There was a couple point fights that they actually pushed them out a little bit. Granted, there were retakes. There was the defense on one of the points as well. So I would say Renegades not necessarily playing poorly, but definitely drafting poorly.
Right, yeah. I mean, there's literally no other way to sugarcoat it. I mean, we're going to take a look at the post game and see more of the story here. And the damage was not bad. I mean, we were mentioning it before when we were in the back with production. We were just saying, hey, they're actually top damaging despite the game it is that they're currently having, right? Yeah. But you got to look at what they're hitting. I mean, they're hitting Joels, they're hitting Rhino, they're hitting the Makoa, the Anar that was being pocketed by the IO. I mean, they're going to have a lot of damage, but still, I mean, it really, really has to come down to the draft. They have to draft better from this point on. And honestly, Kanga were just so dominant with that. I mean, that Bug. I mean, this is literally the dream draft for Kanga, fighting with the Renegades.
Most certainly. And as said as well, triple DPS, it does work. Triple DPS on Frog Isle, my opinion, it just does not work. You really need 2-tank pressure on this map. Double tank is a pretty standardized draft method, full stop. But on Frog Isle, it's almost a necessity. I just think they really should have gone for maybe just at least the Khan. If they'd had the Khan in some of those engagements with the overpowered, you make the fight a 4v5 off your ult at the very start of the round. I think that would have been a lot easier for them to just kind of get the pressure then from the double flanks into the background. I think that would have been the play for them going for the double tank. Hopefully we can see something a little bit better coming out now in the next set.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that too. I thought they were going to go for the Khan. I didn't think they were going to try and round something out with a Victor with the triple DPS, man. And I mean, once again, Frog Isle's already said and done. First game, Kanga Esports. But we got to see where we're going for the second map, of course. I mean, the set's not over yet. And where it's going to be Serpent Beach. Okay, that is where, so they definitely have some opportunity, some flexibility that they could have right here on this map.
Yeah, I could definitely see a double flank composition working a little bit more on Serpent Beach map. Whether they opt to go for that again, I doubt it, to be honest. But it'd be interesting to see where we do go.
Do you get rid of Io?
Do you get rid of Io?
Your first pick now. Do you try and do?
It depends. If you want to play the aggressive tanks, I was going to say, if you want to play the aggressive tanks, if you're comfortable taking the Makoa or the Atlas as first pick, then yes, you can ban away the Io from Kanga. Outside of that, no, I don't think so. Because when you start banning these high priority tanks, it then allows you to have what we like to call free picks or free bans, and that's when it allows you to have a little bit more freedom when you have those free bans. But if you don't want those big tanks in the game, then no, I don't think the Io would have been the most important ban for them. Khan is a nice pickup for first pick, though.
Yeah, more than likely going to put Khan, or really, I should say give Khan to Moon Chopper. But Maeve is being hovered, of course, for Evil Eye. On Kanga's side right now, they're considering what they want to go for. I mean, there's plenty of possibilities for them. They're going to go with Barrett, Maeve. Similar to what we saw in the very beginning last game on Frog Isle. I mean, Renegades decided to go for this early sort of frontline damage pick. And now we're seeing that Kanga are opting to do the exact same. Now, seeing that they have Barrack Maeve, what do you do now? I mean, the power tank is no longer open, so it's not as easily decided. As Renegades, what do you look for?
I think for certainly we're going to start looking for the Cassie.
Right, that makes sense.
It's pretty standardized that you go for the Cassie to counter out the Maeve ult. Being that as well, Cassie is just really good long-range damage anyway in general. On top of that being a lot of blast damage and also a tank killer as well. Sorry, not blast damage as in the ability to blast something, burst damage. A lot of burst damage, which counters out the Maeve in general as well. On top of that, with the Genos, a Genos boosted Cassie is a really strong pick in general. And they also have the self-sustain from Khan as well at the moment, so having the Genos into the Khan is kind of okay. It allows them to go for the Inara as well, and Genos can focus a little bit more heals onto the Inara, whilst the Khan has the self-sustain for himself.
Okay, well, they are going to go with the Ying. There is accidental Sarah's hover right there. They're going to go back to Io. I mean, more than anything. I mean, that was definitely a rare. sort of threw me for a loop, but I mean, at the same time, I figured they wouldn't do that. They're going to stick with their tried and true. They're going to stick with the IO. They've got Barrick, Maeve, IO, Victor. All 4 of them are already locked in. Now it's a matter of what do they want to try and go for, or at least continue to go for. And it's going to be potentially the Eevee. And, of course, they still got their last pick, which is more than likely going to be the Inara.
I think something else as well that probably quite a lot of people overlook is the fact that the big game will still proc on the IO Fox as well. Same as how it will on the Amani Dragon. One of the things that counted out Amani, which was really strong, was the Cassie big game. And that will work for the IO as well. So if you're having trouble bursting the IO in the early games, bursting the IO Luna in the early games without the Bulldozer, those big game shots can be used on it just to instantly get it out of the fight. If you take that away from Kanga early game, I'm not sure how much pressure they're actually going to have throughout the remainder of the fight as well, once those Bulldozers start coming online.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that once you said it perfectly, once the Bulldozers start coming online, once this game starts going on a little bit more and more, it's going to be harder for Luna to be able to sit on that point and try and control that objective. But you've got Eevee, you've got Inara in the very last 2 spots. It seems to be hovered, but more than likely going to be picked here.
I like this.
I mean, you need the sustainability, but this is another time today where we have seen Renegades have the Genos, have the Inara. What's going on there? I mean, that's difficult for Genos to be able to heal her back.
Yeah, it is difficult for the Genos. When you play the Inara with the Genos, you're definitely going to start to look to have more self-sustain in your deck. So there's cards in Inara's deck that when you use your Earthen Guard, your Mother's Grace, sorry, you get self-sustain, you get self-healing, and that's definitely something they're going to probably have to do. As I said, they do have the Calm, which is a lot of self-sustain, so he can kind of keep himself alive. Eevee also has a lot of self-sustain with the heals through her blinks. So it's not too rough, but you are correct. It's certainly not the ideal composition you'll go for. But since Kanga had taken Barrack so early, they kind of really didn't have much of a choice in that circumstance to go for it. Otherwise, Ash being picked up for the last one here now as well from Kanga.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be careful, especially when you have this very, very last character it is that you need to pick. You've got the frontliner, you've got Inara. You don't want to make sure that you go that double off tank, especially with the Genos. It's going to be really, really hard.
Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, I just don't think it's value at all versus Kanga. I mean, you've got Barry. Whose draft do you like more, though?
I actually like Renegades draft a little bit more.
I do too. I like it better. I certainly like it better than last game.
It looks more like a standard draft, and it's just something I think they're going to feel a little bit more comfortable with. We've seen the double flank didn't really work for them there. As I said, I think they played phenomenal last game. I think if the drafts are a little bit more equal, we're going to see a much more equal game coming out of the two.
Yes, well, hopefully that game didn't shake Renegades too much because we're in game 2 and it's about to get started.
A return to standard maybe here for the Renegades. Stick with the Eevee, something Shadow has been able to carry on a couple of times this weekend, and Vocal pivoting back to some comfort there for him as well. I think even is maybe a good way of looking at this one. Just good old-fashioned gameplay is maybe going to take these teams over the finish line.
And I think it's the most important thing. I mean, after that performance that Invocal had on Cassie, on Splitstone Quarry earlier, I'm definitely happy to see him back there. And they're right, this is a very much more even draft. Definitely something that Renegades is comfortable with, something that I think Kanga are comfortable with, though. I gotta say, Ash's win rate so far
was 37?
is in the gutter. It is so low, and that's why I kind of want to lean towards Renegades. Like, whatever team doesn't have Ash, I'm like, all right, you got it.
Yeah,
Most of the time, it's so hard to side for her at this point.
I mean, it was hovering like 61% win rate, 37% win rate there, and that's a pretty hefty number if you really look at it. Kanga are going to look to kind of break the stats here on this one and grab themselves another win in this best-of-5 set. It's going to be a fun duel to watch. Shadow on the Eevee, Evil Eye on that Maeve. Kind of ignores the blink back and moves right on to the next target as Shadow rounds about. Early point lead goes to Kanga, and that Ash finds first blood.
I'm definitely worried about how long these fights are going to go because of how much time the IO can buy. I feel like Inara and Genos is kind of a timer.
Yeah.
And when that timer runs out, when the Inara Sustain isn't there anymore, she's not going to be able to do anything. Normally you're like, well, at least she'll get Cav time. No, she's not. Not with Luna on the point the whole time. 96 and climbing. Kanga are going to take this point with basically no contestation at all from RNG.
Yeah, that was pretty easy there for them. They got first blood and then just steamrolled that into a few more kills afterwards. And Rhino on that Ash, I mean, 3-0-2. It's seeming to be working out for them this time around. A couple big kills there in that mid fight to really lock things down now. Unfortunately for him, locked in an area where he does not want to be. This is where the Renegades are going to have to slow this one down, and you know, always the conversation of verticality on this map, especially on the push. Kanga have a little bit of it in Evil Eye. He's going to maybe try to use some of that to make life uncomfortable. That is, if they can even get back to the payload, unless the Renegades lock them here.
I just want to point out that sweet moment of mechanical skill that Shadow just had there. Soared forward, canceled the soar. While falling, he shot at the wall to pogo himself forward, and then blinked while carrying that momentum to get into the back line, further than he should have been able to. Fantastic little chain of cooldowns and abilities from Shadow there. Didn't amount to anything, but I just wanted to say it because it was kind of sweet. And it's not something you really get to see very much. 1v1 up top, Shadow and Evil Eye. Neither of them really want to take it. It's so risky. Spark use early. That's usually not good for the 1v1, and Evil Eye knows it. He's going to chase it down and potentially find Shadow. Wormhole used, barely staying alive.
He's going to turn it around.
He's going to. He hits the air shot. There's no way. They have some stabilize at the defense.
Wow, Shadow against the wall. No way he wins that one, but here he is. Enough health gained on Blink and a nice block, and was able to turn around. Just one final shot onto Evil Eye. Whether that's a massive difference maker or not remains to be seen, but it does kind of keep Kanga drawn back behind this mid area. They're going to need some more of that if they want to stay in this game. Evil Eye back from the respawn, grabs a kill onto Invocal. Midnight down as well. So trying to aggress in onto the Renegades, looking for a target. Does have Viral right around the corner, but chooses to dash out and away. So now the Renegades kind of have a split fight to worry about. You got Evil Eye in the back line and all these guys on the front line.
They definitely need to either get out or die, and that's what they are leaving right now. Viral going down to Evil Eye. They bought a lot of time on the point, though. Hero died all the way in the back, so they have plenty of time to set up this defense. By the time the point gets to that kind of later contention point, it's going to be in fast OT, for sure. Massive advantage to Renegades in that sense. Looks like up top, Moonchopper actually pressuring. Hero used DR very early, just across that sight line. That means he can't really get that aggressive, but he doesn't need to. Shadow chops into the back and finds Chronix.
Yeah, what a great dive there to get rid of that Victor. Shadow doing his best to stay alive. A little bit of extra sustain there. Joel's into the rocket boots. Failsafe, I believe that was the failsafe charge, so he won't have it just yet. Knocked back, killed off. This is a good start, maybe finish to this defense here for the Renegades. And after a whirlwind of a mid-fight, we're able to slow things down and keep Kanga at bay.
Close to all their ultimates as well, too. The only one that's not there is Midnight. Which means, I'm not sure if, I know Midnight happened kind of recently, but is Invoco going to hold on to his scout for it? If Invoco uses the scout early, that could mean that's a free Midnight later. Kanga loved to get aggressive, so that could be something that immediately turns the fight. A good Midnight is so hard to counter, especially this early in the game when you didn't win the first mid-fight. You don't have those 300 credits to get you that guaranteed, at least Resilience 1.
Right. And then you look at the overpower, traditionally used pretty often to kind of counter out that assert dominance. If you're Moonchopper, are you waiting for that assert dominance, or more situational? If there's a good target, you can grab them, get rid of them.
Traditionally, I think Moon waits for the assert dominance. It's a very simple one to hit as well, so it's basically, do I take the 90% success rate overpower, or do I take the 30 or 40% success rate overpower? Definitely smart to play it safe, especially when assert dominance is such a good ultimate.
Right.
Vocal spamming up top to keep them locked down. No moves quite yet. But there's a lot of ultimates up on both sides. Whoever uses the first one is going to, I think, have a distinct advantage in the fight.
Ice Storm is first used here. One more duel between these two. Shadow won the last one. Who's going to win this one? Evil Eye dashes out. Shadow dashes in. Now back to full health. Lots of sustain there, but Evil Eye gets healed back up as well. Ultimate's starting to fly off in the rest of the fight. No kills just yet. Barrage used. Shadow wins the 1v1 one more time. And no kills for Chronix on that barrage. Cancels it out. 40% retained. But first blood over to the Renegades.
Actually, they don't end up using the overpower to cancel the assert dominance. What a good dome shield appeal for Rhino.
Oh, no.
Rhino lived with like no HP and Invocal fed to try to follow up.
Yeah, Jules turns around, gets the kill onto Invocal with Hero trading out Rhino down solo. No assert dominance left for him. Shadow sustaining, staying alive throughout this fight. Chronix, one more kill onto Moonchopper, who just now used that overpower. And they weren't able to add too much. Now a big zone here from Kanga. 96%, maybe a blink in from Shadow. Doesn't get there. Point number 2 to Kanga.
God, how do you outcap Luna? It's so difficult to when you're getting pressured out in main. Because, you know, you think, oh, well, yeah, we'll have our Inara contest Luna. Luna does no damage. And then Chronix is just standing up there, free firing at the Inara. The Inara can't take that much damage. Oh, we'll have Shadow go and fight, you know, Shadow will go and fight Chronix.
Sure.
1v1 with Evil Eye for 3 hours. On the side of the map, unable to get through. It's great play by Kanga. They're slowing down every answer that Renegades have.
This has been King of the Ring, but like in an actual sanctioned qualifier week game. Shadow drops the Ice Storm, not able to win that one. Chronix. We haven't seen too many duels like super long range between Chronix and Invocal. It seemed like they've been trying to either position themselves away from one another or just try to find sight lines. But of all the 1v1s we've seen, it's really just been those flanks.
I don't think they really want to be dueling each other.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely it. And Chronix is like, I saw what Invocal did last game. I'm not messing with him whatsoever this whole time. Shadow is constantly getting the better of these 1v1s with Evil Eye, though.
Yeah.
Great mid-air directs. These air shots onto Evil Eye while he's trying to go around have been so impactful at winning this fight. Garrus there, goes in, finds the kill, might try to follow up on Joel's.
Yeah, Shadow's been a big part in these Renegades defenses. Looking like he will be one more time. Quick mid-round look at ultimate economy, things of that nature. Barrage, Dome Shield ready to go. Midnight, assert dominance soon to be around. Renegades have a little bit. And one thing to look back on as well, you know, you kind of mentioned how Overpower traditionally used for kind of countering out that assert dominance, saved for a little bit later by Moonchopper, didn't find too much value. You wonder if maybe that's a difference maker in that mid-fight.
I think it would have been. Rhino did play around it really well. He dropped a shield as soon as he went down, so
right.
Moon held back. But there was still a moment where Moon was invincible, and he could have gone for it. By the way, backcap going on while this fight is happening in the front. I'm not sure that Renegades know quite yet.
Looks like it's Evil Eye.
They have respawners, though, so the respawners are going to stop it, as we see here. Shadow versus Evil Eye, King of the Ring again. Ice Storm stops the pounce, and Shadow takes another win in that fight.
That's a good eye to notice that one. The little diamond still moving forward, and it still is right now. The payload continues to inch in, finally back and contested, but the rest of Kanga have kind of stormed these gates, and Vocal rounds the corner, but you got Gera and Chronix waiting for you. Shadow's able to get the kill, so that at least, you know, delays things just for a minute, but into the ice block, still very low here. Chaos happening. Nobody's able to finish him off, but Evil Eye moves in, gets the kill onto Vyro, and now it's a 1v1 between Rhino and Shadow, who blinks up to the high ground. Evil Eye, the latest kill. Things now starting to delay. Joel's so low, and Shadow using that mobility well. Big double kill. That might have saved this defense.
Shadow is single-handedly keeping Renegades in this game. 100%. He has been such a factor in all these fights. The only thing is he needs to... I hate saying this, but does he have to just beat Evil Eye faster? Is that really what it is? Because he has to harass Chronix so that Hero can contest the point. But it's not even on him, really. Evil Eye's a great player. He could just run away and buy time. He needs to maybe just scare off Evil Eye and then hard cut to fight Chronix, right? Ignore Evil Eye, let him roam for a little bit, say, Invocal's insane, he'll be able to slow you down at the very least, but I have to stop this free-firing Victor so we can stop being at a 99-20 deficit.
And yeah, maybe in that case it's more, or it's less what Shadow isn't doing, and maybe more so what Kanga is doing, as you mentioned it. You kind of counter him out with Evil Eye every single time, and then you win the fight elsewhere. So maybe for a little bit more here. Kanga have controlled these mid-fights, thanks in large part to kind of Luna and maybe a little bit of their positioning. Seismic Crash used at the end there by Hero, the only ultimate that's not really that close to being charged up. Shadow with one more flanking mission. Evil Eye has to assume this Eevee is somewhere over here. Haven't spotted just yet. You hear the blinks now. Evil Eye dashes in, dashes out. Cooldown reset used. But Kresnik, 51% in climbing before any engagements happen.
Yeah, exactly. This is it. And Hero can't really get on the point. You're fighting against Jules, you're fighting against Luna. It's really almost impossible. Now Jules can get super aggressive. Hero actually completely ignoring it, fighting on the high ground. 84%. Who's going to touch? It's going to be Moon, but look at his health. He's almost dead already.
93% and climbing. Big stun might counter that one out. Overtime begins. Moonchopper into the battle shout. Stays alive, but getting poked out by everybody else. The Renegades getting whittled down. Vyro. Maybe a last-ditch trade here. Overtime's going to expire, and Vyro will as well. Point number 3 to Kanga. And this might just continue this way. The Renegades haven't really given that much on defense, but Kanga have looked flawless on these mid-fights.
I think Renegades just seem lost against Dio. They don't really think they know how to deal with her properly. At the very least, I think you need to just find a way to trade with Luna constantly, maybe prioritize Bulldozer just a little bit higher. Right now, only Hero has it, and he wasn't even the one matching up with the IO. He was fighting up top against Rhino.
And it's a Bulldozer 1 kind of at that. I mean, obviously it all helps, but you know, in the grand scheme of things, not too much working in your favor there. Shadow is going to have to continue what he's done throughout this game to keep this payload from moving, and with an early kill onto Chronix, looks like he might be able to do just that. And, you know, as much as the Renegades haven't really figured out this mid, Kanga have not at all really been able to progress past this point, except for maybe like a back cap from Evil Eye.
Yeah, and it's tough. It's so hard of a map to push the payload on for sure, because you're constantly giving up good positioning. They can get behind you from their spawn. They walk up, cross the bridge. It's hard to stop them when you're right below them. You basically, where Chronix is holding right now, you have to keep your player all the way back there the whole time, or there's no way you can stop them from flanking you, which is very difficult to do. Another chase from Shadow onto Evil Eye finds the kill. He gets Chronix low, but has to disengage because of Luna. That's stunned, waiting there off cooldown. Would have gotten him immediately if he decided to commit.
Hero as well, grabs one. So wouldn't you guess it, one more time the Renegades in this very slow, kind of pacey defensive style are able to keep Kanga from moving forward. I mean, I guess if you're Kanga, is it kind of on Evil Eye to use some of that mobility, soften up some of that high ground presence from the Renegades?
He's the only one that can really fight it, though, is the problem. I mean, okay, I guess Gara can go up there, but we're not, he's not going to do that. Realistically, it is only Evil Eye, so yeah, he softens someone up. They just back up, get their mark, re-peek in a moment or so. You can get a moment of reprieve, but it's more on Chronix, I think, in the back to stop that aggression. Rhino, Commander's grabbed out of the shoulder bash. One of the greatest upsides of Khan versus Ashe. And traded frags back and forth. Renegades are trying to hold strong on this defense. And
they lose Invocal, which has been a lot of their high ground presence as well. I mean, of course, a lot of it falls on Shadow, but losing Invocal is going to be enough to keep this payload moving forward. Kanga could end the game here and take a 2-0 lead in this set, depending on what ultimates they want to use. Renegades may have to use something to defend with as well. That's an important economy to take note of going into maybe this final mid-fight if Kanga are unsuccessful here. Joel's being nice and healed up. Wall goes up. Joel's moves right back forward. Luna to contest the point. The duel one last time happening between Evil Eye and Shadow. Barrage looking for a target now if you're Chronix. The Invocal absolutely decimated, but nobody gets the kill. A couple kills now starting out for Kanga. They delay long enough. They will be denied no longer. And Kanga Esports finally grab a push and win game 2.
So unfortunate on the overpower there. I think that Dome Shield on the point was really what turned it around. Hero couldn't last that long. Had Dior, I think, just coming up right at the end, but still, Overpower dying on it, basically just rotating Chronix on the point to help him kill the rest of the team. Even though that 1v1 on the flank kept going in Shadow's favor, it wasn't turning the game. The rest of the fight was just always going Kanga's way.
I almost wonder if you're Kanga in this game, you just keep picking IO over and over and over again. It's been working for them so well.
Renegades should be banning it, I think. I think starting next set they should ban it because they really seem lost against this character. Yeah,
I mean, you mentioned a little bulldozer build, but by the time 3 points were on the board, it was bulldozer 1 on Hero, and you mentioned that's not really who's dealing. That's not who's dealing with Luna a lot of the time. I like the way that Kanga started to adapt some of their drafting. Obviously, feel very comfortable with this IO. Is it even something? Say you don't want to ban it if you're the Renegades. Do you maybe try to pick it?
Possibly, but it's a character you can't just pick up and play. Right? It's not like a Genos where I can hear you through walls. I just mark you. It's not like I need to know this precise positioning. You play safe, right? IO, you need to know how to control Luna, where to put Luna around corners. There's so much more to that character that I don't think it's really pick up and play for Renegades.
Yeah, it's a totally different game style when you have that on your side. Kanga looking good through 2 games, 1 away from putting Renegades, up against NIP in the quarterfinal. See if that's the outcome in just a minute.
one. Despite the Renegades' explosive matches earlier, Kanga are being able to not only win these games, but win them very, very convincingly. 2-0 already for Kanga Esports Bees. I mean, I don't know what Renegades have to harness. They're doing so well on the defenses. They're doing really well with holding their ground. It's a matter of when they need to capture the point that's becoming the issue.
I definitely think it's the pressure coming from the Lunar on point and having the remainder of everyone else pushing through. So going back to what you said last time, maybe they do have to use one of these bans for the IO, get rid of that, and then see how they fare when the IO isn't on the board and the game is a little bit more structured towards the way that the Renegades are more used to playing across the games. I mean, they're still doing well. That's the crazy thing, you know. There's high damage numbers coming out from both the carries. I always say it when there's teams like this. It just feels like everything just slightly goes wrong for them in the moment that they need it to go right. And that is what, when it comes down to these PPL level games, it is those very small, minute moments that make the big differences.
Yeah, and I mean, 13-6 for Shadow. I mean, he's doing extremely well. So was Invocal and a lot of them. But once again, Kanga were the ones that just ended up winning that one. I mean, Chronix did extremely well too. Rhino, I mean, a lot of people on Kanga Esports were just so prominent. It's really, really hard to try and fight back, especially when you are from behind. I mean, Joel's was playing so well throughout this game too. I mean, once again, everyone on Kanga is just firing on all cylinders. They didn't do so well again in their game against SSG, but now they are clearly wanting to make a statement.
Oh yeah, for sure. They know that they're going to have to come out for the next round in a really good stead. I think the best way to do that for you in terms of morale, in terms of boost, is to just 3-0 the team that's in front of you right now. You know, if you've lost to a team and you now know you have to go up against them to get the best seeding available, you need that confidence boost. And I think they've gone in there with the right mindset and just said, we are not going to falter here.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, once again, 2-0, Game 3 is definitely on its way. But, I mean, the Renegades, man, I mean, that's why I mentioned it before. I mean, you said it for a brief second, too. I mean, I really think they should just ban the IO first, get rid of a power tank, hands off. You know, you've already got the situation solved. I mean, the IO is such a problem to deal with, and I really feel like they should try and nip this in the bud before it gets too crazy.
Before it gets too much, yeah. Because, I mean, they banned the Willow last round, and although the Willow's problematic, I feel like if you give maybe like Invocal something along the lines of the Strix or the Lian, he's going to be able to deal with that. I have every faith in Invocal's ability of shutting down a Willow. Stonekeep, good map, and definitely one that we've seen Kanga favor IO on, so I do think that is going to be the secret formula for them to at least get into a position where they're looking a little bit more stable, because these last two rounds, they have not looked stable at all. They are really getting run over. As you said, in the defenses, they're doing okay, but that is just not enough to win a game.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Oh, okay. Well, it's nice to know that the Renegades are listening into the comms that we're having up on the desk so far, because it seems like they're listening to what it was I was saying. They get rid of the IO first, and they ban a power tank. It's so good to. I mean, I don't know if they have mixer channel or whatever.
Draft. I did the official fun draft.
I don't know if they're listening or whatever's happening, but I think this is really just the adaptation. This is them realizing, okay, we really can't do anything against this IO. She's annoying. Let's ban her. Let's ban this power tank. Let's not focus on that. And now both power tanks are out of the mix. We've got a situation where Renegades, okay, now maybe they actually have a chance at life here. I mean, once again, this IO, so staple for Kanga Esports, dude. I mean, they have been bringing this out every single time, and as a result, they need to be able to try and fix that.
Yeah, the only thing that I'm worrying about at the moment now is because Renegades are in such a deficit, even if it works for them this round, Kanga then get first pick next round. Can you ban out IO second pick? Because then you don't have the option of banning both aggressive tanks. And it seems like Renegades don't want to play aggressive tanks. But let's not get into the games for the next ones before we even get there. Renegades hovering a couple of point tanks here for the first lock-in, which I'm not quite sure on this. I personally like to see a bit more of like a damage coming out. Maybe like a Strix or something could have been quite nice first pick. Barrett coming out first pick. This could be because they have been favoring Genos so much. And as we spoke about before, they keep getting Genos with tanks that don't have the sustain themselves to be good with Genos. And maybe they're thinking to themselves, right, if we get the Barrack now, this leaves the Genos open for us. And even if the enemy takes it, it puts the enemy in the position that we've been in, having less sustain for our point tanks.
I mean, that's great. And that is 100% true as well, Bees. I mean, they have been taking this Genos so on and so forth, but it's leaving the Strix open.
Yes.
For Chronix to have a field day with. Yep.
Yeah.
Literally, like, you say his name, he appears.
Don't worry, subjects.
And you get the Strix, you get the Bomb King. This is great on the side of damages, man. I mean, this is so much damage. It's going to be really, really hard for Renegades to try and capitalize against this draft that Kanga have. But I do like the start. I do like the bans. I like a lot of what they're going on. But how do Renegades respond to these two character picks?
I like the fact we're seeing Kanga just go, we want our damaged characters to both feel comfortable. We're getting two nice characters for us. Very strong picks for both the people that are going to go onto the Chronix and the Eevee line. For Renegades, I know for a fact they're probably going to be looking to pick the Eevee up here. Eevee is phenomenal for dealing with the Strix. The Maeve is also good, so we could actually see the resurgence of their double flank composition. I would not be surprised if that was to come out, but I would say definitely we're going to see the Eevee. Maybe Eevee into Genos here could be the play for them. Just get that damage boost they're definitely going to be wanting. That supplements the barracks so well.
Ash.
But they're hovering the Ash rather than... Oh, the Ash into Genos, that's still fine as well. The Ash is a nice pickup for them. They get the aggressive tank that they want. Ash is very good at holding the keep side of this map. And again, at the same time, she's very good at forcing Bomb King out, especially when her ult is available. Bomb King is really, really formidable on either side of this map. So having something that can put a little bit of pressure into the Bomb King is definitely going to be nice for them.
Yeah, but Furia, Khan, man, I mean, yikes. I mean, Kanga's draft is looking already pretty strong. They're going to take the Anara. You get Barrack, Ash, Genos, though, so you're still looking pretty good on the Renegade side. I mean, once again, they're doing beautiful on these defenses, man. I mean, they're holding. They're doing well. It's just a matter of, okay, guys, we need to shake it off. We need to keep moving forward. We have to harness this so we don't go down in this match. And even if they do, I mean, they've still been playing pretty well all day. I mean, once again, 3-0 nights, even if you go down against Kanga, I mean, you're still able to be ready to play on Saturday.
Yeah, for sure. I just realized as well, I was saying that they'd go for the Eevee Genos, but that actually would not have been the play. Kanga already had two damage characters locked in with the Strix and the Bomb King, so you know they're not going to steal the Eevee away. The chances of them going triple DPS is very, very slim. So having taken the Eevee there with the Genos would have been a bit of a waste, because they can probably pick it up in the next rotation for free, as we see here now, because Kanga had already locked in their damage champions already. I do like the Furia and the Anara coming out as well. Furia into Bomb King with Inflame is near unstoppable. Although we talk about Genos with Bomb King being phenomenal, like the Inflame into Bomb King is really good. That extra movement speed, that replenishment of ammunition, and that extra bonus damage on a BK is so very strong. We do see now the Victor and Eevee being picked up from the side of Renegades.
Khan and last pick being hovered by Kanga Esports, and it's more than likely going to be picked, man. I mean, I can't see a world where you wouldn't want Strix, Bomb King, Furia, Anara, and there it is, ladies and gentlemen. It's Khan. It's Khan to round out their draft and finish things off. And potentially, I mean, RNG, they've got a chance, but it's going to be a rough one, man. I mean, they're going to have to fight. They're going to have to fight for sure.
For me personally, I'm going to have to side on Kanga with this one. I think they have a bit too much damage coming out for the boys of Renegades to deal with, whilst at the same time they don't have enough sustain to deal with the damage. Although they did get the Barrack this time, which is going to be really helpful for them into the Genos Barrack composition with the extra sustain. I think those headshots from Strix and stuff is just going to be too much for them to out-sustain.
I agree with that, too. I mean, once again, guys, Renegades versus Kanga. This could be the last one for Kanga Esports to take it 3-0 over the Renegades. So let's not waste any more time and give it to your casters.
Well, Bees likes Kanga, Fawn likes Kanga. I make 3. Do you make 4?
I do. Unfortunately for Renegades' sake, 10th pick Khan?
Yeah.
That's
been the trend of the day, apparently.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, there's a high priority on Ash here for the Renegades. Lock her in 2nd overall. And leave the Khan for Kanga to swoop up with the last pick here in this draft. All right, you're Renegades, you're in the booth, you're talking what, this might be hard, but what maybe has you prioritizing Ash over the Khan in this case?
God, I wish I could tell you. My guess would be to counter out the Strix a little bit better.
Sure.
Maybe Khan isn't quite as mobile, so you can't pressure, you can't dash straight into the Strix, but Ash isn't really that good into Strix. Strix kind of just shreds her to pieces when she's on him. That's how it ends up. Yeah, okay, I have assert dominance. Yeah, I can stun the Strix when I land, and then I just get overpowered by the Khan that I let through when I took an Ash 2nd.
Yeah, I think that, purely speaking, even outside of the off-tanks, the Strix Bomb King, 2 very good champions for the Kanga damage dealers, and Gera finding first blood. They are able to trade out as Chronix moves kind of ahead of the rest of his team and catches a nice shot from Shadow on the Renegades. So Kanga finally putting themselves on the point here. And they might be leaning on Shadow to have another big game.
I think they're going to have to right now. Joel's is capping the point. No IO, so it has to be someone committing. Might actually go down to Shadow. Great aggression by him. I think basically barely getting out at the end of that wormhole. Hero contested alone in keep early, and that was definitely a misplay to start. Now he's pressuring that objective, and you can see Moonchopper. He's on Strix duty. I guess that was kind of the point. You just want to be able to pressure him out, but he can't do it forever, and Strix can do his job from anywhere on the map. Absolutely zero fall off on this sniper.
Yep.
Rhino getting pushed away to rotate back. Moonchopper now kind of giving up that Strix angle. That means he's going to be able to potentially free fire from the choke point.
Oh no, 4 members of Kanga just turn around and look at Moonchopper, who's alone down beneath this keep side, and Vocal using that barrage is going to connect one onto Rhino, who throws up the shield to keep himself alive. 75% is where the Renegades stall out at. They're missing now one more of their frontliner. Shadow gets connected with one more Strix shot here. So you're going to be very close. What a flick shot from Chronix. One more onto Shadow. That might be just enough to clean up this mid-fight and grab their first point.
What a crazy reaction from Chronix to hit that shot. That was actually unreal. And Kanga 1-0 now up 63% on the overpower. And 69 now for Rhino on that ability. Outpacing the Assert Dominance, actually. And that's optimal. Because that means if you can outpace that ultimate with charges pretty quickly, you're always going to have it up when you need to. Looks like Moon actually might have gotten walled in, getting completely caught out. Just immediately melted. Hero tried to save him, but he should go down too.
Shadow's going to try to use the Ice Storm, and he does way in the backline on Chronix. So if nothing else, you get the Strix to mitigate some of that long range as Kanga are going to try to push this one in. Vocal's down on the low ground here, choosing not to kind of rotate around that staircase, put him in line of sight. You can see the nuisance Shadow's trying to be off to the right side of your screen here, while Kanga's kind of grouped up to the left. Minute and 45 seconds left, and plenty of time for Kanga, and they're starting to use some ultimates.
Second ultimate Barrage used in response to, just trying to slow them down. For now, Barrage hits the Inara, but DR comes up, so Earthquake Guard maybe used a little early. Maybe it means the push can't go all the way in. Shadow's trying to go all the way. Gets no-scoped and flared by Chronix. 2,400 damage in his pocket in a second. Strix has, and it takes down Shadow.
Oh, Chronix, you can't keep doing it to him. Shadow flies through, and Chronix hits him with the 1-2 punch, and back to base he goes. And that opens up this door here, and I love the way they're playing this. Very standard, nothing flashy about it. Send Rhino up front, leave Chronix in behind, and he's going to confirm a lot of damage. Moonchopper off the map's going to have to use the Assert Dominance to keep himself alive. Elsewhere in the fight, Hero is able to get rid of Evil Eye on that Bomb King. It's had a quiet start to this game so far, so it looks like that one trade may be enough to stall this out.
I like not responding to the Assert Dominance with an overpower there because it was forced out, clearly forced out just to keep himself alive. So, I'll hold my overpower. Now I can use it on something else. I'm already outpacing him anyway.
Right.
There's no way Rhino knows that, but he still might be able to be more willing to use it, maybe to get in Vocal. Good heals by Gera to keep Joel's alive here. Shadow just trying to harass for now. Don't think DR's up. Another barrage for Vocal, but it's not finding any kills just yet.
Yeah, talk about a quiet kind of 57,000 damage lead. 20,000. It's not that high. A 28,000 damage lead for Invocal. 0-0-2 up on the high ground. Doubling up anyone else in this game. 0-0-2. But he's doing what he needs to from this position.
For sure, and that's the best for Victor, right? You don't really expect your Victor to get crazy frags. You just expect your Victor to do a ton of damage. Vocal is bringing that to the table for sure. On harass, a lot of long-range poke harass him. He can't move from this spot because of the Strix. Almost killing Evil Eye from all the way back here, though. Like a dangerous game, even peeking for a second, but Chronix misses the shot. Gives him a little bit of freedom as Joel's goes down. Yeah,
losing Joel's is very big here into the Void Grip. Rhino is up, Battle Shout to keep him sustained, dashes on through. No kills elsewhere for Kanga. That's really the only way they stay in this one, I think. And now with none of that frontline presence, it's going to be a tie game here from the Renegades. But they are playing with fire. That payload got very close.
You can tell why these DPS first picks were so good for Kanga, Strix and BK. So impactful right now, specifically the Strix. I mean, headshot there, being able to harass out Shadow. Good heal from Garrett too to keep him up, but look at this flick shot. That's crazy.
Ow.
That was an unreal reaction from Chronix, being able to keep that pressure up. I would be tilted. If I died like that, I think I would be tilted if I'm just getting owned that hard.
Because there's no way, right? I mean, that's just... There's like a handful of people who probably make that shot, and Chronix just happens to be one of them.
I mean, I guess it's on Renegades, right? You know that's the case. What team prioritizes Strix on every map? It's Kanga, and you're the ones who let it through. So maybe I'm just mad at my drafter, who knows more than anything than myself.
Maybe. I am very nervous to even poke out anywhere. I mean, we said maybe Shadow needs to get out and carry this one. The damage from Invocal has been pivotal in keeping Renegades in this game. I mean, without that, they don't really have a leg to stand on here. He's going to need to somehow do a little bit more. The rest of the Renegades are going to need to add their hat into the mix. Finally, overpower used, and Vocal, wouldn't you guess it, first one identified and killed off by Kanga.
And now there's actually no assert dominance for Moon to take advantage of that. He needs to charge his ult pretty quickly, but he's getting bullied out by Evil Eye. I think it'd be the other way, but it is not Moonchopper taking a decent amount of damage. Shadow dives up top to try to find someone, and the Inflame comes in, but nothing just yet.
He's looking right in behind Moonchopper, goes through with the shoulder bash. Viral connects with one on the through time and space, but it's a 2-for-2 trade so far. Invocal rejoins the fight, uses the barrage, grabs a kill, and make it a double onto Chronix into the ice block. As it's really only Joel's left in this fight from Kanga. Renegades delay, they slow it down, and they get a win.
One of the biggest things about getting an early pick is you have to be ready for when they come back, especially if it's super early in the fight. You can't just forget about them. That's what happened with Kanga. They forgot that Invocal was on the respawn, and he just tore through Kanga when he was able to come back from that respawn. Moonchopper now bullying them out. Who do they have to touch? Khan might have actually made it, but the first kill went to Renegades.
Yeah, the Poppy Bomb back from Evil Eye was not enough there. Joel's back down onto the point, but now Rhino gets burned through. It's a 3 versus 5 advantage for the Renegades. I don't think you messed that one up, and overtime's going to begin. Overtime likely to expire here with the Renegades. Big adjustments on the mid-fight have grabbed themselves a midpoint.
Chronix uses the stealth to get away with barely any HP remaining, and him staying alive is really big because it's going to slow down Renegades a lot. It's so difficult to push into a Strix in a strong defensive position when his team's going to be able to peel for him, and there's a tank in both lanes. Rhino actually doesn't see Shadow hiding above him. Now he sees him, but Rhino took a lot of chip damage for that, and Shadow might be able to pounce.
Looks like he's thinking about it. Actually, yeah, Rhino is just still very low up here on the high ground, finally getting sustained a little bit. Instead, Shadow finds a sneaky angle onto Evil Eye, so now without that Bomb King, a lot of that high ground presence gone. You still have Chronix with that Strix, but good poke from Shadow has kind of kept things moving forward here. Maybe spend some ultimates to get this lead to 2.
If Shadow called that Joel has no DR, they could be getting aggressive, but I feel like he didn't call it. Renegades aren't walking it at all to try to get the advantage there. Barrage comes in onto Strix. Such a good thing. It can go through stealth, and Chronix goes down immediately.
That's right. What a value out of that barrage from Invocal. Getting rid of Strix makes it double almost. Now with 1 minute and 25 seconds left, can they push that advantage? Evil Eye still so much value. Shadow into the ice block. Once that expires, he's got a trap awaiting. And Evil Eye detonates it. Commander's grab over the edge. Moonchopper. No assert dominance used to save him this time around, and Kanga backs against the wall, save themselves one more time.
I think Moon just realized how bad of an idea it was last time to use the assert dominance. He's like, oh, this isn't getting us anywhere. And Vocal walking down that far right lane, having a great game, I think, so far on this Victor, as you'd expect from him. Great games earlier today as well, so definitely no slouch on this team. Renegades, are they going to be willing to spend anything to do this? Maybe Dome Shield. Hero's getting pretty aggressive. Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked to see him go in for it. And through time and space, both people go into spawn to kite through it. But that little respite might be enough for Renegades to get in.
That's right. They've had to back off, and Invocal has now moved forward, gotten the kill onto Evil Eye, holding down this left-hand flank. Jules uses that seismic crash, but he's kind of trapped in between a couple members of the Renegades. One more barrage, looking for a target. Sees Gera up high instead, uses a couple missiles on Joel's, and that's going to be good for a kill onto the frontliner. Some more damage needed. Evil Eye Poppy Bombs backward. Moonchopper assert dominances downward and grabs the kill. And now with 2 members left of Kanga back in base, payload inching closer. Joel's is going to have maybe one final effort here, but dismounted, gets down. Shadow into the ice block. Shielding, not enough as Joel's walks through. Chronix grabs a kill as well. 3 seconds left. Somehow Kanga have come back into this one. They've respawned, they've retaken, and they secure the defense.
Oh, Shadow, no trust. Hero actually had the perfect shield there, blocking Joel's from being able to find that kill, and Shadow waited in the ice block for Joel's to be able to react. He might have been able to get away. I don't know what difference it would have made, considering the amount of health he had, but still, that's the disconnect from Renegades that we weren't seeing earlier today. The Renegades earlier this morning would have probably reacted to that, gotten away, maybe been able to heal him, have the mark ready. This is just a little bit of disconnect that we don't want to see. This is what Renegades have looked like all season, and we thought maybe the difference maker was here. That set earlier today could have been the start of something new, but Renegades have to get back to what we saw earlier if they want to be able to take this set and guarantee 1st or 2nd seed.
And I agree. It's been those, we've seen flashes of it throughout this year. It's doing that on a consistent basis that has kind of escaped. Good triple dismount from Invocal, throws out the grenade. Kanga are still able to move themselves up to the high ground. Looks like Overpower did indeed connect, so maybe look to capitalize that on for 1 kill, and it's Moonchopper who gets burnt down now as Invocal holding down the flank. Gets stuck once by Evil Eye, actually very close to death there. Poppy Bombs backward as Hero moves inward. The Ice Storm down onto the low ground, but not enough. Inflame into the King Bomb.
See what he can find with it. Might be going just for Hero, but Hero goes down. Chasing in the banana. Do they know he's coming? I think they do, but it doesn't matter. Even with that Inflame speed boost, it's just not far enough. 3 people still alive in fire for Renegades, which means they have a potential to retake, but no ultimates really. Barrage, maybe through time and space, but the big one, assert dominance, the one you want in this position, it's not available.
If nothing else, that King Bomb bought them a little bit of space. Let's see if they can get something with the Barrage. 60% now onto the cooldown, ticking down. Drops the binoculars, no barrages used. Overtime being reset. Joel's grabs the kill onto Shadow. Been a big boon to the Renegades' cause here. Viral throws out through time and space, no good. And with Hero getting chipped away at and Moonchopper not really in range until now with the shoulder bash, things looking dire here. Especially with no front lines. Kanga 1 point away from taking the set.
2 ultimates used by Renegades just to try to kill the Strix, because there's really no other answer. You have to. There's no way they can get into him with how much damage he has, how way he was positioned on top of the stairs. They use the barrage just to try to kill the Strix, and he hides.
Yep.
They use through time and space to kill the Strix, and he just walks out of the way. There's no other way for them to deal with him. He kills Moonchopper immediately after. Really shows the impact of this pick on the game for Kanga. And now he's watching this massive silent Hero knocked down to basically 1 HP. No one on Kanga's forward enough to deal with them, but this Strix is going to do a huge amount of damage, and Shadow gets forced out too.
He has been hitting no scopes, quick scopes, every kind of scope, holding down this high ground here on the left. Kanga would look to end this game right now. They might just charge up a few ultimates and have it their way. Joel's does drop. Had the seismic crash ready, so at least not for the moment. Kanga won't be pushing any further. Evil Eye makes a miracle play here, but you're right. I think with the Strix, it's...
Is that a miracle play, Dave?
It could be. I'm blinking. I am shaking my head and blinking meme, whatever that guy is called, because I did not expect Shadow to fly on through there.
I think you can personify that meme, Dave, I'm going to be honest. Invokal's holding up at the spawn right now, and Overpower comes in from Rhino, takes down the biggest difference maker in the game, and that could be the conversion.
This could be the final fight that Kanga needs to secure themselves a top 2 seed, but Evil Eye gets poked down very low, and Flame used. Hero stunned out, killed off. Joel's moving forward with that one. Now Moonchopper has to drop down, staying safe behind the wall is Joel's, but not before Shadow flies on through. But Rhino wreaking havoc up here onto the high ground as Evil Eye moves down in beneath. Can he find some good sticky bombs that maybe turn this one around? But the rest of Kanga has pushed back, and Evil Eye kind of alone, but now he finds the Poppy Bomb up to the high ground, grabs the kill onto Invocal, but Hero's still alive, and he's fighting for the payload. Big through time and space.
Takes down Chronix in the back, no more damage from him. Are they going to keep this fight going? Maybe not. Rhino's so low, and Shadow's timing him. Battle Shout keeps him alive for a second, but that second lasts not long enough, and Rhino goes down.
Oh, finally a delay in this final push. Things starting to slow down, maybe not slow enough for Joel's. With 25 seconds left. Still plenty of time for Kanga. It looked like that might be the final fight, but Renegades were able to stall it out. If you look at the ultimates, it's a flashbang. And Flame was used like 30 seconds ago, and they're almost right back to one here for Guerra. If that one comes up, they might feel comfortable to use it. Flashbang potentially. Overtime looking to begin. Jules throws up the wall to stay alive. Duel on the left-hand side between Shadow and Rhino. Aggressive dash in, but with Joel's going down, that's a big loss now for Kanga, especially with Evil Eye as well following. Renegades are going to have the respawns, and once Rhino goes down, this game looks like we're going to be tied up with a .7 on board.
I think better ultimates on the side of Renegades. They're closer to theirs for sure. Seismic Crash only at 50%. Dome Shield, I think, is going to play a very big factor here. Needs to be used in a more impactful area, though. Last time, only used to keep Hero alive.
Yep.
That's not necessarily bad, but if they wanted to swing the whole game in their favor, it's going to have to be somewhere better. Lock down at choke point. Keep them alive on the point. Maybe buy a little bit of time to be able to actually kill the Strix. They're going to need some kind of ultimate to connect on that Strix too, whether it's through time and space or the barrage.
It's been a lot of it is buying time, just trying to weather some of this storm. You know, Invocal still top damage, you know, still very far ahead. Now that gap has extended to about 50,000. So, you know, still keeping pace with kind of where he's at. Not quite doubling up as he had been as Chronix has started to kind of close that gap. One final mid-fight. Could potentially send Renegades onward to NIP in the quarterfinals on Saturday. Dome Shield used. Hero's going to back himself off, back onto keep side. Invocal Big sightline against Chronix, who's able to find the snipe. That's a gigantic loss now for the Renegades. So much of their damage, essentially all of it, now missing.
And Vocal pulls up with the binoculars, but all does is zoom in on the bullet that's careening towards his head as Chronix takes him down. Evil Eye trying to peel for Rhino here. They catch Moon, but I don't think they have the angle to throw him off the map. Shadow might save 2 people here. Did Moon survive? He does! And they got Rhino. That's a turn they needed, and Vocal cleans up 2.
Yeah, wow, and Vocal back from the respawn. A double kill for him. 51% from Kanga, so they're going to have another chance to back off if they're able to not get super staggered out here. Shadow peeks his head around the corner, now blinks in behind, waiting for the blink back. Was Chronix. Doesn't find the shot just yet. Renegades just now getting back to the point at 36% and climbing. One more pit could tilt this one either way.
Here's locking down the point. Joel's is close enough to go for the touch. How early does he go? There's a barrage coming, so he has to hide. All 3 charges connected. It takes down Chronix.
Wow, they get rid of Chronix. That's massive. As Kanga are fighting at a 4v5 disadvantage. Still time, though. Nobody on the point. Tied up at 57. Hero drops down the seismic crash, or gets caught out, rather, by the seismic crash, and Vocal finds another kill from that backline, but Evil Eye rounds the corner. Into the King Bomb he goes, rolling forward towards the point. Is he going to go in? He's going to just miss out on that stun with Hero. Poppy Bombs backwards, stays alive, but not before Moon Chopper is able to find the final shot. 72% for the Renegades, 75% for Kanga, and the fight rages on.
We'll see Chronix rotating back over to the banana side. Rhino might have extended a little bit too far, but he manages to catch Invocal. Chronix with a great angle, but he trades for Shadow.
And now Invocal goes down, but Inflame burning away. Joel's moving forward. Hero into those rocket boots to buy himself just a little bit of shielding. Ice block from Shadow's not enough to keep him alive. Moon Chopper stunned out, shoulder bash. A little bit of damage reduction, but it just buys some time as Kanga, they buy themselves one more date with SSG.
Was Moon not touching the point that entire time? He was channeling the shoulder bash?
I guess
There's
not.
no way. He was right next to it. 87% is that magic number. I cannot believe he didn't touch the point that whole time. Hero, Commander's grabbed at the last moment to stop himself from touching, and that was all that Kanga needed, I guess.
Those were tense moments, very back and forth there towards the end. They were able to kill Chronix twice at the beginning of kind of, if you break that end fight into kind of 3 separate chunks, they get Chronix at the very beginning, he comes back in, gets killed again. But that wasn't enough. There was enough contention all throughout that. You're watching it, you're not watching the percentage, you're assuming the Renegades are garnering the entire time, but there was enough for Kanga to keep it even.
It's 13%. That's really what it is, from 87 to 99. It chunks up in 3s. You have to stop it at 87 at least. That's, if they're capping the whole time, that's the magic number.
Right.
And they just didn't get it in time. I gotta say, that entire last fight, whatever team lost their direct damage first, then immediately won the fight.
That's right.
And Vocal dies, and the respawn is just enough to make the difference.
That's right. Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm wrong. They killed Invocal first, who then came back in and got a double kill.
And then they killed Chronix, and Chronix came back.
That's right.
And then Kanga won.
Very back and forth. The only thing set in stone after this is that Renegades will be facing NIP on Saturday in the quarterfinals. I don't know if I'm super excited about that. I mean, any of the top 4 teams, I think Blue kind of mentioned it, I think it's kind of pick your poison at this point because you move on. Now you're SSG and Kanga fighting for that 1 and 2 seed, and either you're facing Envy or Virtus Pro, 2 very scary teams to go up against. If nothing else, Kanga are able to bounce back, grab themselves a 3-0 win, but they got to go up against SSG one more time. Desk, how you feeling?
Well, I'm feeling that the Renegades, they definitely had their chances. They had the ability to be able to win, but it still was just a little bit too much. Kanga's onslaught was just too much for them. Once again, they wanted to make a statement, Bees, and I think they made that statement very loud and clear.
Yeah, for sure. They definitely got the confidence boost they need now going back up against SSG. I do want to say as well, though, take nothing away from the Renegades boys.
Of course.
Massive accomplishments for them, man. I couldn't be happier for those boys, but the run is done so far. I mean, they're not out of it just yet. They will be back on Saturday, of course. But coming up next now with the Kanga SSG games, can Kanga swing it back? Because, I mean, earlier on, the SSG looked very, very dominant versus them.
Yes.
It's going to be interesting to see how it goes now.
It is going to be very, very interesting how it's going to go. I mean, once again, Gara out healing Vira right there, but that's typically to be expected later on in the game with the Furia versus Genos matchup. However, the damage is still being in favor of Chronix, but Invocal, man, with 180,000, that is no small task. You go 13-7 and 13 still on the losing team, and you're still able to bring out a lot of these things, man. I mean, Joel's once again on the Inara is being able to be such a prominent force to be dealt with. And I thought it was over. I thought Renegades had won, but very, very slight mispositions and a few mistakes, just a couple, were the ones that actually just ended up losing them the game.
Yeah, for sure. And when you look at those damage numbers, if I showed you those damage stats
yeah.
and asked you who had won that game,
exactly.
I think a lot of people there would have thought that the Renegades had taken that game. The amount of damage coming out of these players is just phenomenal. But just goes to show you in a lot of these games that the damage numbers just, they don't do it. You know, you need that capture time and you need that push potential. Unfortunately, they just didn't have it today.
Right, exactly. I mean, once again, not to take away from the Renegades at all. Of course,
Not
not to take away from Kanga either. I mean, to be able to bounce back that quickly from a loss and then proceed to make sure that you can 3-0 your next opponents definitely takes some strong mentality, definitely takes some strong teamwork. Once again, the Renegades earlier today, man, they were looking pretty good, and I definitely think that that's going to be a huge story for sure.
Yeah, they popped off, man. They popped off. And hopefully they can still carry some of this momentum into their Saturday games now as well.
Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, once again, this is going to be very, very interesting from this point on because, like you said, Kanga are going to be facing SSG.
Yep.
And this is going to be something that's going to be interesting because literally they just played each other. Now they're back and they're like, yo, this is going to be our second chance to be able to try and at least take something or at least try and take the set this time. Not just a game, but try and harness the momentum that they had from this game despite having lost previously to the same team they're about to go up against before and try and maximize on that.
I think the difficult thing as well is like there's two different like sides to the coin here as well. Like you have Kanga can either be tired from all of their games or they can be constantly being warmed up ready for more games.
Right.
You know, or then it can be the reverse for SSG. SSG can be well rested for their games or they can be feeling a little bit stagnant now because they've just been sitting out waiting for the next round to start. So that's definitely something that we should be looking into now as well. Like, are Kanga going to have, although they're going to have the momentum and the drive now to do it, are they going to have the energy left in the fuel tanks ready to keep pushing?
Right, and that's going to be really important. I'm glad that you mentioned Kanga warming up, breaks, and speaking of that, we're going to have to cut to a break. Unfortunately, we don't actually have an interview, but it's going to be a bit of a longer break. Try and give everybody some time to actually recuperate, get their minds ready, because Kanga are about to play another set against SSG. Don't go anywhere, guys. I'll be watching.